I would say just do it, right? Because that was a key turning point for me. If I had not made that first presentation that night, I wouldn't have still done it, right? So that kind of turned my life around. Yeah. So just do it, even if it's a small step. Just do it and see if it works. So if you have an idea, maybe you can build it as a service or a product. Or else if you know somebody that you can help as a client, then you can do like a service for them. If you see somebody's business needing like digital marketing services, you can go up to them and say, hey, I think I can help you, right? Let me do this for you. That might change everything for them and for you. Right?
Could be a turning point.
Could be a turning point, right? So just think that way. Just think of doing something that, like, irrespective of it being a turning point or not, just do things that you kind of want to do in the path that you want to do, want to go in rather. So that way, I think you actually might be getting closer to your dream. One thing, you're not just sitting on it, right? You're executing something.
It's true.
Right? On the direction that you want to go. So that way, I think it becomes very easier, because either you're getting experience, or you're earning money, or you're building a brand or a team or a company. It's in the right direction, right? So that would be my number one
advice,
or the only advice, because just by doing that, you learn a lot of things. You get started. You're fueled to do it. If you have co-founders, they also want to do it. If you have customers, you're accountable for them, so you're automatically doing it, right? So like that, you are in the game. You just have to get into the game, right? And then you'll figure things out, because whatever I say doesn't matter if you are going to listen to 100 other startup talks or founder talks, and you're not really taking a step in that direction.
It's true.
Right?
Waste.
It's a waste, right? Because there will be a lot of people who know more about entrepreneurship than I do. I started this without knowing anything. So just start. You'll learn your things on your way.
Tell us, who is Anderson Haran?
Who is Anderson? Anderson is the 3 C's you have mentioned, and completely I am all about growing myself while helping other people grow as well. And there's some selfishness in that. When you help another person grow, you grow more. That's number one, right? When you want to be good at something, you try to teach some other people. So that's one selfish reason. And the second reason is, for example, if I help you achieve something, I'm actually creating an opportunity for you, and also that's an opportunity for me to, work together with you. So, in a detailed form, that's who Anderson is. Anderson is a very helpful, kind-hearted soul.
So let's get into your story. How did Anderson Haran become this person, a comedian, a coach, a content creator? And not to mention, you studied for your software engineering degree, but you stepped out of it to follow your passion. Tell us the story behind it.
Yeah, so it's a long story. You guys have time? Let me just adjust my seat. Okay. So I think my number one goal was always to be confident, I think, which is a common goal for a lot of people. But in order for you to become confident, there are different stages that you have to face. And we are afraid to face those. Because of that, we can't achieve it. And even my content creation journey started in 2020 because of COVID. And I think a lot of content creators started their journey in Sri Lanka during COVID. And the good side of that is there are so many great content creators that we see now. And I don't think they would have started it if COVID was not there, which is the sad part. So I'm one of those people. And so I don't know which one to start with, because 3 different areas, right? Content creator, coach, and comedian. So there could be 3 different stories, but they are all connected to each other.
Interconnected. Start with comedy.
Comedy journey. Okay. Stand-up comedy journey.
Yes.
Okay. So I met the guy called Shuhaib Ali, and he used to do stand-up comedy in Colombo, not in like big scale shows, small coffee shops kind of shows.
Right.
And when I spoke to him, before I spoke to him, I actually tried comedy on open mics, and I failed terribly. You know, you tell a joke and like no one is laughing. You're like,
You want to entertain us with a bit of insight into that?
yeah, so I tried. I can't remember the joke, but I think the joke was at an open mic. I prepared like my first ever stand-up attempt. I wrote like 2 pages of scripts, and I was like, I said something very lame, like these days, you know, even 30-year-olds are singles, but you know, a 17-year-old guy, and he was like, "What's up, bro? Like, I'm not single." I thought that would work. I was like, "Whoa, dude, that was nice. I mean, can't you guys imagine?" But no one is laughing. They're like, "Where's the punchline?" And that was very lame. And my brother was there. You know, brothers enjoy the moments when you flop, and you can see the entire crowd is quiet, and he's like. If there's a round table setup, it's difficult for it to even turn and look at the comedian.
Yeah.
They might even start interacting with each other. So when it's a movie theater style, everyone is facing the stage. You can perform stand-up and the attention is still there. Even a silent movement, they're not going to get distracted. So you try to tell a joke, it doesn't work, and you can just stay awkwardly silent and people will find it funny. So he created that environment to exercise my whatever body language, funny body language or funny content and so on, and it worked. And then after that gave me confidence to create our own shows. Like, we did multiple open mics, so that's how we found more people in our group to do stand-up comedy. Each of them are found through open mics and so on. And there's a lot of people who tried stand-up and then they are happy that they did it and they go away, because that's like a bucket list for them.
Right.
For us, like,
It's a lifestyle.
we wanted to keep doing it, so that's a remaining set of people who we have right now. You know, everyone's wishes and everything. So maybe that's why I started to try content, and then it started to pick up.
Right.
So that's content is another journey, and then there's a lot of learning. Like, stand-up comedy, I think, is a very brand new industry in Sri Lanka. There's not a lot of people doing it. I think we have 2 clubs at the moment.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you're overconfident. Like, I did 2 shows, people laughed, so I don't have to worry that much. Let me try the third one, and the third one flops. Like, you go back, you start to doubt, and then you try again. And improv, you know.
Yeah.
Without writing any script, you trying jokes. Like, I like to be good at that, but that's a risk as well.
During that process of learning, then I stumbled across like this personality. I think everyone knows Bhanuka Harisnanda, right? Who started Search. When I hear his story, there was a lot of points that I could resonate, and how I got to meet him is through Interact, right? Like how I started. Kind of why I wanted to get into public school was because I wanted to get into Interact, and that is how I got the door open to meet Bhanuka. His story really resonated with me because he was not someone who really liked the conventional path. He's also someone who didn't do well in A-levels, chose to do his own thing. And that day, like, I think that's the day that kind of clicked everything for me. And I was like, man, this is a pathway that I could really go for. And you being a nobody, still you can actually start a business. You don't need to you don't need to figure out everything. You can really go for it and then start learning while executing. So I think that is like the mindset shift that happened. And with that, I then went to my kind of, drawing board and figured out, okay, now I have gathered these skills. How can I map it out to start a business. So then only I started. So this is when early stages of COVID actually. I was at home, mostly free because there was no access to education or anything. So that is kind of how it started. And then with the same timeline, a lot of shifts happened. So one of the things was, as I said, Tehran Subhasingh was also one of the very influential people in my life very early on. He went again, he's not someone who really stick to the syllabus. He would go out of the syllabus and try to provide value rather than just teaching the syllabus. One day he did a random free webinar, a free session for his students on what you call Bootstrapped, which is like a thing that you can utilize to kind of code websites, right? Like CSS. So during that session, end of that session, he taught us what the basics of Bootstrap is and all that. And end of the session, he came and said, I'll give you a challenge for everyone. Develop a website and present it to me, and I'll give my comments. I may have taken that challenge a little too seriously. I didn't sleep for the next 15 hours and coded a website, an idea that I had in one day, less than one day. And then took help from my father to kind of host it. But like most of the things, I did it in like 15 hours straight. Showed it to him, he was pretty impressed. He was like, do more of that. I think that was like the push. So like meeting Banuka, understanding that you don't need actually to have everything figured out to start a business. And me understanding, hey, like I have a skill in kind of web development. That is kind of the gateway then that led towards starting the business. And then when I started the business, I also figured out, okay, something very important is personal branding. Like a lot of people that I follow back in the day, like Gary Vee, even Banuka itself, how they led the business is with something called founder-led marketing, or as personal branding around the founder. So even though I had no business, I still started creating content around what I learned, how interested I am in starting a business. I created a LinkedIn account at like 18, 19 to connect with people who I want to connect with. Because I figured out that A-level is not my thing. So I need to find a backup. I was not going to do well in A-levels. I knew that. So I created my own path, right? So that is when, everything fell in place. I kind of then, as I create content, I got connected with few more people who are interested in this. Like back in the day, the CTO that I founded the business with, I found him through LinkedIn. And then the graphic design I started the business with is from Interact. And then the UI UX designer I hired was kind of a old student, was a past student of Mr. Tehran. So like these points kind of put together eventually, and then right before A-levels, I spoke to them saying, hey, like I have this idea to start something. I see that you have the skill and drive. I have some skill and drive. We don't know anything. We'll go do it and figure it out. And that is kind of how the opening for the business kind of, or as the idea started. But still, I mean, I am a 19-year-old kid who has no experience in the job market or how corporate works, anything. Who just want to kind of solve problems, who like solve problems and create my own path. And I figured out if I went head first into it, I might figure out, but I failed really fast.
So, like I said, stress is supposed to be helpful. If you're at a point that because of stress you are unable to reach the goals that you want to reach, I think that might be the first indicator, right? So something that is helpful is no longer helpful. That might be like because you're so stressed, you're avoiding from doing so. Stress can also lead to anxiety. So because of the level of stress I'm feeling, I'm just shaking, I'm anxious, so anxious that I can't do what I'm doing. Another sign that will be is that because I am stressed and the best way to kind of say it is, so think of this as your capacity. Each glass, each vessel will have a capacity. Because of stress, my capacity is going to be full. And as I fill up, this stress is going to overflow. So it's not only me, how am I impacting people around me? Am I getting angry? Am I being at this place of where I don't care about other people, I'm just dismissing?
if there is an impact because of my stress to other people, that might be another sign. So it's not only me, it's also what is the impact this is having around people. So it might be because I am avoiding, other people are getting impacted. Or because I am stressed at work, I start shouting at the peon that is down there. Or I start shouting at my mom. Or maybe it's my girlfriend or my wife. That is another way of kind of looking at, okay, I need to get help, stress. The other thing is, not only does it not help you get your goals, it impacts other people, but how exhausted I feel. So that is the state of burnout, where because I am so stressed, I really don't look at going to work. I don't feel motivated to do things. I feel numb. So it's like where you don't feel anything. You want to feel, but you can't feel, right? So burnout can lead to depression, but depression and burnout are two different things. But burnout is the extreme level of stress. So if you're feeling burnt out, if you feel dissatisfied with what you're doing, you don't have a sense of motivation, these are some warning signs to say that, hey, I might be stressed and I need to check how much stress I have and what is the level, how can I deal with it, how can I empty this. And that's the best way to kind of look at it.
Brilliant. So my next question comes, so once someone identifies, okay, I'm stressed, I'm going through something like this, can they manage it themselves or do they need to seek professional help? Because given the situations in Sri Lanka, as you all know, there's a small stigma of if you're seeing a psychologist, there's something wrong with you, things like that. To a certain extent now these things have gone by, but I personally know there are people who still believe in that and they don't want to seek help because they think people might think that they might have something wrong with them. So do you think it's important to seek professional help or can they help themselves?
I think we are all born with a natural blueprint on how we need to take care of ourselves. When we get stressed, one of the things that we do is we forget the basic things. And what I kind of tell people is try the basic things first and then seek professional help. But if you're gone to a point of where it's beyond you being able to even do those basic things, maybe that's when we need to kind of seek professional help. And so what are these basic things? It would be like, how do you connect with society? Do you have enough friends? How is your sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? I would say one of the biggest protectors against stress is balance. And having, it's like spokes of a wheel. If one spoke is gone, most likely the moment, so say you're a cycle, this is your wheel, you're missing a spoke. The moment you hit a stone, which is your stressor, it's going to impact that wheel. There's going to be a dent. If you don't address that dent there, the more stones you hit, the bigger and bigger and bigger the dent. So just like any vehicle, a bicycle needs constant maintenance, our body needs constant maintenance. You need to check in with your body and see, oh, is this too much? Am I taking care of myself? Am I doing the basic things? Am I having a good diet? Am I exercising? Am I getting enough rest? Am I actually thinking about myself and am I willing to say, I need to take some space to take a breather? Maybe in our culture that we work, in the culture that we study, we are so pressured to do. Or maybe the threat that we perceive is that, oh, I'm going to fail. The threat is that failure. And because of that failure, we drive and push ourselves to never fail. But the reality, and I guess your previous guest also would have highlighted this, failure is inevitable in life. That stress is inevitable, so you are going to face it. Preparing for that is one thing. Working towards avoiding it is a different thing. The more you work towards avoiding it, you're going to stress yourself out and be exhausted because you can't avoid it. It's inevitable. And so I guess to answer your question, can it be addressed on our own? Yes, if you have this basic, what we call healthy lifestyle, right? Preventative medicine, and the saying goes, prevention is better than cure.
You learn things in life. Sometimes people think life is a challenge, but if the more you learn, the more you go through, you learn how to handle life. And I think my foundation, or the period that I was in the US, I feel was a training period to who I am today. Because I was able to understand life, I was able to appreciate stuff more. So that's kind of the early childhood or early part of Chamindri. Then came along, sometimes people get pressured to get married in Sri Lanka after a certain age. I went through that period of like, get married. How come you're not getting married?
Yeah.
But I just kept on saying, I remember one summer I came here and my mom had this major chat with me. And I still remember sitting on my bed and saying, God, if marriage is for me, you put the person in front of me. Because I'm a girl who doesn't go looking for people. Just like that, God actually answered my prayer. And Suranjit at a party, at his cousin's party, we are family friends, he walked in for dinner. When I went and gave him a hug, I just felt this, wow. I felt this voice saying, here, you wanted someone in front? Here he is. So we have known each other. My husband and I have known each other since we were 3 years old.
Hey,
So yeah,
that's a long time.
but got married at 38. That's okay. When there's a plan and a purpose, I always say, let the plan and the purpose work. Don't force it.
Let it take its own course.
Own course, because I think if I had met him at 20, 25, I don't think I would have been interested.
Very interesting perspective there, because there is, like, as you mentioned, there's a bit of stigma in Sri Lanka that you have to get married at 25, 28, before 30 at least.
Exactly.
And
otherwise they think of you like, how come she's not married? Or how
I
come
saw
he's
this
not
thing where
married?
it's like you're single only until you're 25. After that, you're unmarried.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's sort of the thing that goes around. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see how that did not affect you.
Yeah, and I talk to all the single girls and boys, sometimes don't get that pressure to you, because when there's that pressure, you choose the wrong partner. It's worse to choose the wrong partner or be patient till the right partner comes along.